before, no softball, no baseball, no nothing. This week the rec was closed because of issues with police. They closed open rec time, which again I found very inappropriate because my children were not there when the incident took place. So the rec should not have been suspended for everybody, just those few. We cannot let our kids walk the street. We do not have a park to play in. I realize you're working hard, I get that, but we need to work harder. I can have this room filled next month with every parent in town if I have to. I am not a political person, I don't know what to do, but I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I'm angry. I know we're all lifelong residents, I get that, but I think we've been patient enough. So, tell me what I need to do, and I will do it. I don't know, I will fill this room next month. If I have to, I will petition, I will do whatever you need, but I need to get the ball field intact for our families. This is unfair, and it's sad that I have a son, after raising my children, that I can't say, go to the ball field and have a game of catch with your friends. They cannot walk the streets. We all know what's happening in the streets with our kids. The rec center is not open all the time for all the children. We need a place for our kids to go. That being said, I appreciate your help, I appreciate your effort, and whatever we need to do, if anybody has ideas, tell me, and I will get the ball rolling. Somebody has to get it rolling. That's all, I just wanted to voice my opinion. Thank you for listening.
Maxine.
Hello, Maxine Viola, 541 on Cliff Avenue, Edgewater, New Jersey. I'd like to start off by saying I respect everybody. We were all born and raised, the majority of us, both parties, as far as the ball field is concerned. So I stand here respectfully, and I want the ball field back. I want to know what we need to do to get the ball field on track. I don't know all the facts. I heard a lot of things, and I don't want to stand here. In fact, I wasn't even going to stand up because I don't know all the facts. So one, I need to know where I can find all the facts. Where do I go in this town to learn about what's happening with the ball field? The facts about why it stopped, when it's going to be built, everything about the ball field. I need to find out so that I speak from a fair and just place. Because as I said, our kids all grew up here. Our nieces, our nephews all grew up here. We want the same for our kids in the future. My son is 12 years old. He started at probably 8, 9 years old, his prime of baseball. And honestly, I thought there was actually maybe already a group of parents together trying to get things going. And in fact, I was not vocal because I respect everybody involved. And because I trusted that it was going to be taken care of, I guess in a compromising way. But at this point, I don't believe that's possible. I believe that we need to find the right and just and fair situation to get our ball field back. I spoke to somebody who's not even 60 years old 2 days ago, and I asked her if she knew anything about the ball field. And she said, oh, I'll never see the ball field again in my lifetime. That got me to think, people are just dealing with the fact that, okay, we're not getting our ball field back. That really made me decide that I need to be here today, because I don't even want to wait another year. But if we started today, when would our ball field be done? I'm assuming not for another 2 years completed, if things worked out. I need to know where I can find the facts about this case so that I handle this situation fairly and justly for all involved, because I respect everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Peter.
Good evening. Thank you, Mayor. Council. Peter DePaul, 606 Undercliff Avenue, Edgewater. A little follow-up. In October, terms said that the PVCs were contaminating in the ball field. Has the soil at Breland been tested, where it came from? And is that, again, if they're going to build on there, it needs to be cleaned. Is there affordable housing up the block from there? Is that property cleaned? And it has to be, I think, tested, not just accepted. So please put that on. Again, I know you are. You're working very hard. That's where we have to really solve these problems. Because I do agree with the ladies. So it looks like 2 more summers before we get to the ball field back, maybe. Second issue, let's read my own notes. For the new partners at 27 Dempsey, it said the Lehman Brothers no longer the financial site. For the new partners, term we used. That's a good question. If you can research that.
The new partners, okay.
Okay, for 27 Dempsey. And our neighbors that live in 27 Dempsey, will they still be in public housing, or is this going to be a private establishment now?
I don't believe so. We had Billy in here a couple of months ago to discuss this. I don't remember the name of the new, the new bank or institution they're using, but, we'll get you those answers.
So who the primary is a new partnership. Also, the gentleman made a good point about the alternate side of the street sweeping, and that'll help Shady Side. The north end of Undercliff, we can get the east curb cleaned by street sweeper, but rarely do we get all the cars out of the way for the west curb to be swept. So if that could be, if there's signs going up for Shady Side, we get some for our end, 1 day a week off on the side of the street to get the sweeper to the curb. I appreciate that. It would make that the construction and neighborhood area look a lot better. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Seeing none, I'll close the open portion of the meeting. Just would like to make a comment in regards to the ball field. Beverly, I know you, however great you are, I could see in your face Sunday when you came by. And listen, we're all aggravated. As far as the answers they're here, I'll make sure you get them. And my kids just haven't been down there either. So it's tough for everybody. So we'll get you the answers, and we do have a mediation coming up next month. And we're trying to speed the process along.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. We have no comments, correct? I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes of January 27th, February 18th, and March 3rd, the regular session, and the work session. So moved. Do I have a second? Michael.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilman Henry.
Yes.
Councilman Doran.
Yes.
Councilman Monti.
Yes.
Councilman Vidal.
Yes.
And Councilman Bartholomew.
Yes.
Motion passes.
We have ordinance 1504, 2014, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 282, parking lots, and Chapter 283, parking and recreation areas, to update parking restrictions to municipal recreation areas and historic borough hall. We went over this. This is to protect, the parking behind the old borough hall. And at this time, I'd open to the public on 1504, 2014 only. Anyone wish to be heard on 1504, 2014? Seeing none, I'll close the open portion of the meeting on 1504, 2014. Do I have a motion for 1504, 2014?
So moved.
Any discussion? Roll call. I'm sorry, I'll ask for a second.
Second.
Roll call.
Whereas an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 282 parking lots and Chapter 293 parks and recreation areas to update parking restrictions for municipal areas and historic borough hall is hereby adopted. Councilman Henwood?
Yes.
Councilman Doran?
Yes.
Councilman Monti?
Yes.
Councilman Vidal?
Yes.
And Councilman Bartholomew?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Communications, petitions, we have none.
I just have one thing from Senator Booker, Mayor, and basically it is referencing the anti-poverty program, the Earned Income Tax Credit known as EITC, and this is a refundable tax credit that encourages work and helps families make ends meet. It's an important tool that was implemented, I think, back in President Reagan's time. Anyway, anyone who is interested in being eligible, if they're an eligible working family, they can contact or view the IRS website. and try to, go into that tool and see if they would be eligible for couple thousand dollars. If anyone needs the information, I have it. You can call me tomorrow at my borough number, or you can talk to me after the meeting and I'll give you the website.
We have no introduction of ordinances. We have Councilman Hamlet, do you have a committee
Yeah,
report?
regarding DPW, just so you guys know, this summer, this summer, winter's been brutal with regard to equipment, the sweepers, the salt spreaders. There's a lot of bills being paid. It's unfortunate, but it's just a fact, and the additional salt went out. So it's been a bad winter with regard to cost and expenses. Manpower continues to be an issue. They're down at least 3 guys on the regular DPW side, if you will. Tommy's asking for some help there. Probably a very specific skill set, mechanic, skilled type person. On that side, on the other side, the municipal utilities, or the pump plants, if you will, the sewers, the grates, the pump plants in town. We are under the agreement with Bergen County, we're responsible for those. We're down to 2 guys, Dennis and Joe Chevalier. When they have to find space, they can't do that. They're not going to be, they have to bring their guys in. So we have to really look at that. I know budgets are up in the next 30, 40 days, so we need to talk about that. We're just down, we need the manpower back. And then I would just also add tomorrow, is it tomorrow Newsweek coming in, Greg?
I believe it was tomorrow was the demonstration.
The demonstration, so we have a newspaper coming for the guys, Mike, down there. And then I for one, am in favor of the meters and the amendment to the ordinance.
Councilman Doran.
Actually, I'd like to bring up the north end parking. Was wondering if we can have a planner, maybe the building inspector, come in and meet with us, discuss curb cuts. From Sterling south to Route 5, there, I counted today, we're gonna lose 17 spots parking just on the west side of Honeycliff, once these buildings go up. And already, I'm getting complaints from people on Myrtle Avenue, because people obviously are parking their cars down on Myrtle Mass, because there's a parking issue. So what I think we should do, because in 8 months, this is gonna be a big issue. And we can look at it for a couple of reasons. Curb cut, instead of having those 50-foot, driveways that take up all the spots, perhaps we can get at least 1 side parking right in front of the house and do a 8-foot curb cut and then we can pull in. But we'll have a plan to look at it and suggest ideas on that. Also the possibility of maybe east side, west side parking. With the cleaning, we could actually try, see how that works, maybe alternate for the, see how the cleaning would work, but see that perhaps on the east side of Undercliff, you might be able to get more cars because the west side is going to be all development and we're losing all those spots. It's going to be a big issue. So I would like to introduce maybe the planner, the building inspector come in and give his reason why we can't do what we're doing because it's going to be an issue. And that's it.
Okay. We'll make a point to have a meeting with John and we'll reach out to Catherine as well. Councilman Monty.
Mayor, I have 2 letters from Chief Skidmore that I would like to introduce, referencing the police calls for the months of January and February. Also, we got back 3 of our officers from injury duty in February, which cut down some overtime, but of course, with the weather and the snow, there was still plenty, but it's outlined in these 2 that I'd like to put on public record.
Councilman Bartolome. Councilman Bartolome.
Just to report that the Hudson River Walkway behind the Commons and the golf course, there's many lights out, and people were complaining, and Helene, the code enforcer, and myself paid a visit. She wrote some letters, and I'm happy to say that just about all of them are turned on now, so it's much brighter along the walkway and a little safer back there.
I'd like to ask a question. Not being here last week, You mentioned something about the rec being closed. What was the recreation building closed for? Is anybody aware of?
There was an incident of a fight.
At the building?
Yeah, involving a bunch of
The
kids.
week before, and it was suggested.
Edgewater kids?
Yes. I'm not 100% sure who the fight was between, but I know that the police came down last week and they recommended they shorten the hours. And we're in discussion with Jill and the police to see how we can solve that for the upcoming weekends.
Thank you.
In regards, I'll just like to mention this before. Obviously, we have Arbor Day proclamation. Before we go into I wanted to read this now just because of the resolutions. We have the DEP grant for community stewardship. I believe that's the intention to plant trees around town, and it's a tree grant. I believe we're going to be spending somewhere, well, we're awarded around $30,000 in tree plantings. So, with that being said, whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of our precious topsoil by the wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce life-giving oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. And whereas trees are a renewable resource, giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and beauty for our community. And whereas trees, wherever they are planted, are a source of joy and spiritual renewal. Now, therefore, I, James F. Delaney, Mayor of Borough of Edgewater, do hereby proclaim April 25th, 2014 as Arbor Day, to be celebrated in the Borough of Edgewater on April 25th, 2014. And I urge all citizens to celebrate Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. And further, I urge all citizens to plant trees to gladden the heart and promote the well-being of this and future generations. So that's all I wanted to go over.
Mayor, if I may, in conjunction with your proclamation, you did mention about the $30,000 grant for tree planting townwide. I just want to publicly say thanks to the Shade Tree Committee, who was instrumental in that. And then we also are the recipient, and this is as a result of the actions of the Shade Tree Committee. We're in receipt of 900 tree seedlings, which will be distributed to the children at the Elmore Van Gelder School next week as part of the New Jersey Recovery Program. So the whole operation is to give the seedlings to the children, depending on the number of children who will be receiving them, 3 to 5 seedlings per child, and then go home and plant those seedlings by their parents, and hopefully if we get half of those seedlings to take, we'll have that many more trees in town. So I just wanted to give the accolades to the Shade Tree Committee who are responsible for it.
Thank you, Eric. Resolutions, we have 2014.
Mayor, Resolution 066 needs to be pulled. That should be introduced at the time of the introduction of the budget.
Are we going to pull any other ones?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think, with regard to 081, we got to pull it because we got to get a definitive answer. But it was my understanding that the DEP gave an NFA no further action on that soil, which meant it was absolutely inappropriate to be put in a residential level ball field. And that's the issue with regard to that site. That's my understanding. And that the construction moves forward in that. It's a different company. It's a company that's building it for a spa. And supposedly it's cleared by DEP. If that's not the case, we definitely need to know. But that's a separate issue from them putting the ball field, which was never appropriate. It's 2 different levels of acceptability by DEP. That's my understanding. But until we have that answer, we should definitely pull it.
Okay.
Can you
I can pull it.
Am I allowed to ask that or not? I don't know these meetings.
It's closed to the public. right?
Yeah, I'll just continue my thoughts by
I
saying.
apologize.
Well, no problem. I'll answer by saying there's a certain level that's approved for construction and capping and so forth. Then there's the ultimate level, which I would call ultimate level, the ball field, which is 2 parts per million. It's a residential level. You can't have anything. It's gotta be pristine, it's gotta be virgin soil, it's gotta be the right thing. And that isn't. So that's where the difference is, I believe.
Do we have any,
I'd like to pull 80, please.
80?
To read separately or pull completely?
I'd like to pull it and table it.
Okay.
We've been talking about putting together a website for a very long time now, and we wanted to put together a website that was going to connect all the different departments on one platform so that we can communicate freely and manage everything properly and do it the right way once and done. And that component was already built into one of the proposals that was submitted. And the cost of that particular software, I don't know if it's a software or if it's a website, but the cost of that is about 26% of what one of the proposals were. So rather than do it twice and repeat, do rework, let's try to see if we can pull that and table it and maybe move forward with our website and incorporate that as we originally planned, which is much needed.
Okay, so we're pulling 66 to be read separately. We're pulling 80 maybe?
Just pulling 66.
Pulling, okay.
Pulling 80 and 81.
Okay. All right, so for consent agenda on resolutions, 2014-065, 2014-067 through 2014-079, 2014-082 through 2014-084. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
Roll call?
Councilman Henwood?
Yes.
Councilman Doran?
Yes.
Councilman Monti?
Yes.
Councilman Vidal?
Yes.
And Councilman Bartolomeo?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Anyone like to bring up anything under old business? New business? Phil, what do you have first tonight as far as the Waterside and Binghamton?
Mayor, the Binghamton, I'd like to discuss with the governing body some developments that have occurred. The owner of that property, which is being handled by Roger Gross, his family has successfully obtained an order of eviction from the former operator on that site. And so it looks like we will finally be able to take steps to have the boat removed, and we need to work in cooperation with the owner, and he has requested that we enter into some agreement with them to assist them in order to accomplish that. So I'd like to talk that over with you in closed session. The only other remaining item, Waterside will continue to be a discussion. We did have a meeting with representatives of the bond company. We had also present were representatives of Waterside. And the purpose of that meeting was to discuss a solution to try to address this concern and deal with the necessary steps in order to remediate the site in strict compliance with the original terms of the contract, which required certified clean fill. So that conversation will continue. I think we need to discuss that briefly in closed session. They have requested that we participate in a mediation session, so I think we can discuss that a little bit further. But the goal here is to engage the bond company, and we are attempting to take the necessary steps in order to try to get this project back on track as soon as possible.
Okay. Greg?
Well, Mayor, most of my items consist of closed. At the last work session, I provided you copies of the expiring PPW and PBA agreements. If you wanted to have the opportunity this evening, if you had an opportunity to review those documents, again, we can hold off. Mr. Bozier did mention Waterside construction. I also have, in conjunction with Waterside, some correspondence from terms, and then, of course, the Binghamton. We do have 5 law firm proposals for the Veterans Field issue. So those proposals we can discuss this evening in closed, and also the potential of hiring within the emergency medical services department, and that's all I have.
Okay. So we'll be going into close to discuss PDA and DPW contracts, waterside construction, the Binghamton, veteran field law firm proposals, and potential EMT hiring. Do I have an intro to go into close?
So moved.
Second? Second. Roll call.
Councilman
Yes.
Henry. Councilman Doran.
Yes.
Councilman Monty.
Yes.
Councilman Mandel.
Yes.
Councilman Bartholomew.
Yes.
Motion passes.
I'm not